The world woke up to shocking news today as Moscow, the heart of Russia, faced an unprecedented strike from Ukraine. Reports have confirmed that key locations within the Russian capital were targeted in a bold surprise attack, sending shockwaves not only through Russia but across the globe. The audacity of this strike has raised questions about security, military preparedness, and the escalating tensions in the ongoing conflict. Eyewitnesses in Moscow described scenes that were almost surreal. Alarms blared across the city, citizens rushed to shelters, and emergency services scrambled to respond. Smoke plumes could be seen rising from several areas, and the initial chaos quickly gave way to a tense calm as authorities began assessing the scale of the damage. Social media exploded with footage and first-hand accounts, showing both the human and material impact of the attack. Experts are calling this strike a turning point. While Ukraine has previously conducted cross-border operations hitting Moscow, the very nerve center of Russian political and military power, is unprecedented. Analysts suggest that this attack demonstrates Ukraine's growing capability and strategic reach, signaling that no location is completely safe from the conflict's consequences. Military analysts note that the timing of the attack was likely calculated for maximum impact. Early morning strikes ensured minimal civilian casualties while targeting critical infrastructure. The choice of targets appears to be symbolic as well as tactical, aimed at sending a clear message to the Kremlin. The war is far from over, and Ukraine retains both the capability and the resolve to strike deep into Russian territory. The Kremlin's response has been swift but measured. Official statements condemned the attack in the strongest terms, promising retaliation and increased security measures. Russian media has emphasized the resilience of Moscow, portraying the city as standing firm despite the aggression. However, analysts note that the attack has likely caused internal alarm, prompting urgent reviews of defense strategies and security protocols. From a global perspective, this attack is reshaping perceptions of the conflict. Countries around the world are closely monitoring developments, with some expressing concern over the potential for escalation. NATO officials have reiterated support for Ukraine, while simultaneously urging restraint to avoid a wider confrontation. The strike has also reignited debates about the effectiveness of intelligence and early warning systems, highlighting vulnerabilities that could have far-reaching implications. On the ground, Ukrainian forces are reportedly operating with increasing precision and coordination. Military experts point out that the success of this strike reflects months of planning, reconnaissance, and technological adaptation. Drones, long-range artillery, and cyber operations may all have played a role in achieving the element of surprise, making it a case study in modern hybrid warfare. The human impact cannot be overstated. While casualty figures remain uncertain, hospitals and emergency responders in Moscow are reportedly handling injuries ranging from minor to severe. Families have been displaced, businesses temporarily closed, and the city's daily life disrupted in ways that may take months to fully recover from. This attack is not just a military event, it is a social and psychological shock, challenging the perception of safety for millions of residents. International reactions have been swift. Western nations have expressed solidarity with Ukraine's right to defend itself, while also urging caution to prevent a spiral of retaliatory strikes. Diplomatic channels are reportedly abuzz, with emergency meetings taking place in European capitals, Washington, and beyond. The global economy, already strained by geopolitical uncertainty, reacted immediately, with stock markets fluctuating and energy prices experiencing volatility. The timing of this strike is particularly significant. Analysts believe it coincides with ongoing diplomatic efforts aimed at conflict resolution, possibly intended to strengthen Ukraine's negotiating position. By demonstrating its ability to reach the heart of Russia, Ukraine may be signaling that it holds leverage in future discussions, whether these involve territorial claims, ceasefire agreements, or broader security arrangements. Historically, attacks on capital cities carry enormous symbolic weight. Moscow, as the political and cultural center of Russia, represents authority and national pride. Striking it sends a message far beyond military objectives. It challenges narratives of invulnerability and underscores the high stakes of this conflict. Experts warn that such attacks can influence public opinion, policy decisions, and even international alliances, creating ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate theater of war. From a military standpoint, the attack raises questions about Russia's defense systems. How could such a bold strike penetrate the capital's protective measures? Analysts point to potential weaknesses in radar coverage, response coordination, or command structures. Lessons learned from this event are likely to shape future military strategies, both in Russia and Ukraine, as each side adapts to evolving realities on the battlefield. The Ukrainian government has not officially confirmed all details, but statements suggest pride in the operation and a commitment to continued pressure. This strike is being framed not as a one-off event, but as part of a broader campaign aimed at undermining Russian military capabilities and morale. Ukrainian leaders are likely to emphasize the precision, planning, and restraint exercised during the attack, reinforcing the narrative of strategic competence and moral high ground. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens in Moscow are grappling with fear, uncertainty, and anger. Many are questioning whether the city can truly remain safe while the conflict continues. Emergency services, local authorities, and volunteers are working around the clock to restore order, assist the injured, and maintain public morale. This attack, while shocking, also reveals the resilience and determination of communities facing extraordinary challenges. Media coverage, both domestic and international, has been intense. News channels, social media platforms, and independent journalists are providing round-the-clock updates, images, and analysis. The rapid dissemination of information has made this event a global talking point within hours, influencing public perception and political discourse. Analysts warn, however, that misinformation and propaganda may also spread quickly, requiring careful scrutiny of sources and verification of claims. Economically, the impact of the attack is immediate and potentially long-lasting. Businesses in affected areas have been temporarily closed, transportation disrupted, and investor confidence shaken. Insurance claims, repair costs, and emergency funding will strain budgets, highlighting how military conflicts can quickly ripple into civilian life and economic stability. Strategically, the attack demonstrates a shift in Ukraine's approach. No longer confined to defensive operations, Ukrainian forces are increasingly capable of taking the initiative and conducting high-impact strikes deep within enemy territory. Military analysts suggest that this trend could redefine the trajectory of the conflict, forcing Russia to allocate resources differently and reconsider its long-term objectives. Diplomatically, tensions are now heightened. Countries allied with either side are evaluating their positions, potential support measures, and the risks of escalation. International organizations are calling for calm and urging both parties to engage in dialogue, but the surprise nature of this attack complicates negotiations. Trust, already fragile, may be further eroded as both sides assess the implications of a new level of military capability and boldness. Looking ahead, the situation remains fluid. Moscow is likely to strengthen defenses, reassess intelligence protocols, and increase patrols. Ukraine may continue its strategy of targeted, high-profile strikes to maximize pressure and demonstrate capability. Observers caution that escalation is a real possibility, with each side testing the limits of restraint while trying to achieve strategic objectives. The psychological impact of this strike is perhaps the most profound. For Moscow residents, a sense of invulnerability has been shattered. For Ukraine, it is a demonstration of capability, resilience, and determination. For the world, it is a stark reminder that conflicts can escalate quickly, and that even the most powerful states are not immune to surprise attacks. In conclusion, the bold strike on Moscow marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict. It highlights evolving military capabilities, strategic ingenuity, and the high stakes of this confrontation. The immediate effects are visible in damage, disruption, and shock, but the long-term consequences, military, political, and psychological, will continue to unfold in the days and months ahead. As the world watches, one thing is clear: the conflict has entered a new, more unpredictable phase, and the reverberations of today's attack will be felt far beyond the streets of Moscow.